Hey Nintendo fans, and welcome to the new weekly Nintendo news, where each weekend I recap some of the major Nintendo stories that took place over the previous week. Now this segment is completely new, so it's going to be rusty, probably a little clunky. We're going to roll with the punches and see how it goes, so let's check out some stories. The huge influx of new Christmas systems ended up over-flooding Nintendo's eShop market, causing it to crash, have some downtime, and while it is finally up and completely stable in terms of purchasing things, downloading the new Bravely Default demo, we'll get to that. You cannot get Pokemon Bank. It was pushed back what seems to be indefinitely from its December 27th release, and while it did see a release in Japan and I think Germany, there are a few Pokemon that belong to the national decks that just seem to be floating around in the system. It is not officially out in the States or any real English-speaking territory for the time being. Now, Nintendo does say that this is one of their main priorities and that they're hoping to get it up as soon as possible. Its original release date was the 27th, so I can only imagine it's just a week or two until this thing finally gets released. For some brighter news, Takeshi Yamazaki, the director of the last Phoenix Wright title, has stated that a new Ace Attorney game is already in the works. No release date or even a release platform has been given for the title yet, but it's just so great to see the Phoenix Wright series seeing so much love. Speaking of Phoenix Wright, if you're like me and from the States, we still haven't yet gotten to see the Phoenix Wright Professor Layton crossover, but that's coming in 2014 too. All I can hope is that this next Phoenix Wright game will reach our hands in a physical release. It was extremely sad to see it in digital only. It was even sadder to not get the second Edgeworth game, so I'm hoping that the series' popularity is revamped. We're getting this crossover that I thought we'd never get in the States. Now that I hear there's more games in the works, I'm really hoping that we'll get Phoenix Wright all the time, physical copies, just like the Golden Era. And speaking of the Golden Era, the writer of the first three Phoenix Wright games, the director of Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, and the director of that last Phoenix Wright Professor Layton crossover that I just talked about, is also producing another game. Again, no release date, no specific platform, no real inkling of anything that they're working on, but all I know is this team makes a lot of really great interactive stories that are portable, so if you've liked their work in the past, a lot more seems to be coming in the future, which is always good news. And finally, in a story that seems to be getting a whole lot of controversy lately, Bravely Default, which just recently hit European territories and hits the States in 2014, seems to have gotten a bit of censorship in its translation into English from the original Japanese version. The main characters seem to have each gained 3 years in age, the most notable being Idea, who went from 15 to 18. Some of the costumes have been changed to reveal less skin, and apparently some of the in-game dialogue has been toned back due to some sexual innuendos. Now my own personal opinion's a little weird because I'm all over the map on this one. In general, I'm against censorship. I feel like if somebody creates a product, that product should be distributed everywhere else in that same original intended art form. We have a rating system for a reason, so if something has a teen rating, which that already does, I don't have any issue with teen content being in there. As for the costumes themselves, they don't really bother me either way. Yeah, it does seem really strange to have these small chibi figures in these oddly sexualized costumes, but will it burn your eyes out? Will it ruin someone's image of the entire game? Probably not. In fact, I actually do like some of the censored costumes better. I think this one looks better than this one. But again, that's just my personal taste and my eye for it. This isn't the first time Nintendo has censored something visually before, but I am having a hard time figuring out what they decide to censor and what they don't. After all, this is the same company that says this sprite image person from Final Fantasy IV looks pretty much exactly the same as this. They said that's okay. And then in Fire Emblem, they said this was fine, but this needed to be censored. I have honestly no clue how the entire Nintendo system works and censorship and whatnot. Honestly, if it's not impacting the main quality of the game, I don't have any big issue. The one thing that I do agree with them changing are the ages of some of the protagonists, but that's mostly just because of legal law. In Japan, the age of consent seems to be anywhere from 13 to 16, depending on regions, which is much lower than what's typically 18 in the United States. And I assume it's somewhere around there, maybe 16 in Europe? Something along those lines. One thing people can seem to agree on, though, is that Bravely Default is a darn good game. It's been getting great reviews from a lot of the English-speaking territories that do have the game right now, and if you're stuck in the States like me and are waiting until February to get it, You can download the demo now on the eShop. I thought the demo was great. I played it for like 5 hours. You can actually grind, level up characters. There's a ton of different classes to experiment with. You can mess with the new Brave and Default system, which allows you to take multiple turns at the same time as sort of a risk-reward thing. Ultimately, I thought it was a whole lot of fun, and if you play the demo, you can actually transfer certain items and things that you've accumulated in the demo to the main game if you decide to purchase that as well. That is it for the first Nintendo Weekly News. Like I said, this is an extremely rough format. We're gonna work out the kinks, but I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. I feel like reporting on news each week and grabbing that, instead of just trying to find important stories and getting the very first video up on YouTube talking about it, just seems to me like a better format where we can have actual conversations and maybe even a little bit of fun. As always, you can click this button right up here to subscribe to my channel and learn when my new videos are coming out. And I want to know from you guys, does the censorship changes in Bravely Default affect whether or not you will purchase the game? I understand that there are a ton of people with a wide variety of opinions, so I'm curious to hear what you guys think. This has been Nintendo Weekly News, and I'll see you guys next week with some more things Nintendo.